Hey, good evening, pipe friends. Just watching the last seconds countdown to the Saints' disaster with Seattle. Seattle's just being themselves. They just outplayed them. But hope everybody's doing good tonight. I am smoking a little bit of. I just back to basics. It's just a good all around blend that I keep on hand, and that's Captain Black. It's like eating a bologna sandwich, when you want it, won't nothing else fill the bill. And I certainly keep it on hand, and I'm smoking it in this in my little 320 Savinelli. So I don't know if they're gonna do an onside kick. I just don't see that's going. Just don't have a lot of faith in it. We're down to about 26 seconds on this thing. So anyhow, I've tried the Captain Black white, gold, and in the dark. And I think I said in a comment to who it was. Might have been Chris Pipe Pappy, but I'm not sure that I hadn't tried the Royal. I think I have tried the Royal, but outside of a few sticks and stems in their products, the Lane Limited is what they call their over-the-counter brand of Captain Black. I like the basic Captain Black white. It just out smokes, out flavors the others. The black is good. The dark is good. It's a Cavendish, and it just. I like it, but I certainly like the white better. I'll do a review on the dark here one of these days, and I've also got the one with the deer tongue. I'll do, and but anyhow, just watching a little football. Enjoying a pipe. I'm not sure who plays after. I think there is another game coming on, but I'm not a super football fanatic. I get kind of into it, especially when the Saints really who's playing. Your home teams, you kind of get into it. But toward the playoffs, I tend to get more into it than just in regular season. And of course, it looks like the Saints will wind it down tonight, unfortunately. That seems to have been the Saints' dilemma. They're certainly better than they used to be, but they just don't seem to have the staying power, through the season. But we're going to start a new deal at our little restaurant Tuesday, and we'll open back up. We're closed on Sunday and Monday, and you're going to start the way you do when you come in now. You walk up to the counter, and we've got a food case there, that food warmer set up with, and you go through, and we plate it up for you, whether you want barbecue or a plate lunch, and move down, pay at the register. And it's a little small place. We can seat about 45 people. What happens to you during lunch is you get bogged down with trying to place the order, get it done, boom, 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 right then, move it down to the line, get on the next one. You get somebody inevitably that's slower, or we're slower, or whatever the case may be, and we're just looking for ways to fill those tables up more, move people through, in and out. We ought to be able to double our lunch business, and we're just looking for ways to get the people seated and their food to them a little quicker. And so what we're going to do Tuesday is from 11 to 2, one of the ladies that worked for us is a former waitress, and we're going to start actually coming to the table. Go ahead and seat you when you get there, our customers, and wait on them that way and plate it up, and she's going to take it out. And it'll give her an opportunity to pick up a few tips too, so it'll be hopefully a win-win for her and another lady, and hopefully us, certainly. But I'd like to rotate, ideally, if you can rotate your tables 3 times during lunch, you moving them in, moving them out. But if I could get to a solid 2, and the reason, we've grown just as much as we can do because we can't get any more through in the space. People are limited, they got 30 minutes or an hour, and it's our duty to try to get them out. So we're hoping this may solve that issue, and that's the only room we've got left for any growth, is to just try to move people in and out faster. There's old Captain Black. Boy, it's fitting the bill, and it is it's a truly good smoke, and I think this 320 may actually enhance it a little bit. They pair good together. For 320 to be considered a drugstore blend or over the counter, a little 1.5 ounce bag of the white label is $6 here in town. That's 1.5 ounces. I can go to MA's and buy their finest Wall Street for under $4 an ounce, about $3.70, I think. So actually, that puts the Captain Black White a little more expensive, and it's certainly a lot more readily available. But I like it. It's it and 1Q are my favorite Lane Limited. Of course, I like the BCA, and you can't go wrong with that either. And there's another one. I don't know. They named theirs by numbers. I think Lane must do a lot of blending, a lot of sales to brick and mortars that blend their own. But the BCA, the 1Q, and the Lane Limited Captain Black White are my top 3 of their blends. I was thinking about something the other day, well, today, not the other day, today. We all have experiences growing up with smoking a little bit and hiding and smoking, and I started dabbling with cigarettes as a teenager, 13, 14 years old. Didn't really start smoking until after 18, 19 years old, but I would slip around. Had a little boy about my age that lived across the street. We grew up together, and sadly he was killed in a bus accident when he was 21 years old. And I'll tell that story here in just a minute too. But that kind of got my mind off track. He and I were best friends, but anyway, we would slip off and smoke a little. My parents both smoked, and I'd slip a couple of my mom's cigarettes. My mom has since quit smoking. Daddy's 76 and puffs smoking as much as he ever was, but we'd slip off out in the woods and smoke, and as boys do sometime. Well, my parents moved to this place where they're at in 1969, and they bought some acreage out there, and they bought a mobile home and put out there to live in with the intentions of building a house within a year. Well, a year turned into several years, turned into nearly 10 years, and about 8 years, I guess, 7 or 8, about 7 or 8. And because my dad worked on the road a lot, he was used to build the Stuckey stores that you've seen. I've done that stole that store before. Used to see out on the interstate. In the last 2 years, they were before Illinois Central Railroad bought them and surplused them. He was Stuckey's director of development, so he traveled a lot, and they just never had the time to build it. So he built that house. We built that house. My dad, my mom, and me and my little brother, we did the work ourselves, other than laying the brick and some things that he could not do. We hung all the sheetrock, we pulled the wire, we did. And what he would do is he'd fly in on Fridays And he would I got to text my wife, and we'd work on it Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning. He'd fly back out, and if he had a long weekend, well, anyway, it took a year to do this, and we had some help. He'd hired an old guy down the street that was retired and come up and done a lot of the work, help too during the week. He'd do things for my dad. But anyway, they delivered the brick for this house, and it was sitting out between the mobile home and the house. And one morning, I was outside, and I slipped out, and I was behind the brick, the big stack of brick, which was taller than I was. And I was smoking a cigarette, and I was hiding back there. And it was early one morning, 7:30 or so, and I seen the door to the mobile home open. I could see it because it's set up higher. And so I put the cigarette out, and my dad walked back there and said, what are you doing? And I couldn't think of anything to say. And why I said this, Of course, out in the country, if guys are out in the yard and they need to take a leak, they'll take a leak, And that's the only thing I could think to say as I was taking a leak. I was going to the bathroom. And he looked at me and he said, well, let me tell you something, son. When you're taking a leak, it don't smoke. And he walked off. And that was the last he never said any more about it. And of course, even when I was 19 or so and started smoking and picked it up, I was nervous about smoking around him the first time, but sure did. But that's just a little something I thought I'd share. But yeah, my friend across the street, he and I grew up together, and he kind of took a different path and had some run-ins with the law, and good guy. And we had a lot of fun together growing up. And he married a little old girl that lived a couple of miles from us, pretty little girl, and they had 2 kids and just never did get along. Back and forth into it. And he was fooling with some drugs and whatnot. Not nothing heavy, a little marijuana. Of course, he did fool with some pills and things later. But anyhow, they would separate and go back. She had him arrested for non-support. And the last time I seen him, I went to court with him, and they give him 90 days for non-support, and I left him there at court. Well, he got out, and I had just gotten married, and passed him one day, and he was down at his mom and dad's house, and he tried to stop me, and I just was in my pickup truck and just kept going. I said, to myself, I said, I don't want him. I don't know what I thought. I just didn't need it or whatever. And that at that particular point, because I had a lot going, and a week later he was dead, and I have thought about that, but his wife and she had a restraining order against him. Her daddy hated him. He enticed him back over there. He got her to entice him over there and to their house, and with the intention of setting him up. And when he was on his way, they could notify the sheriff's office. His mother heard it over the police scanner, managed to intercept him, got him, put him on a bus going down to South Texas to her brother's house to go to work down around Houston. Got down to Livingston, the bus ran off of a bridge and killed 5 people, and he was one of them. So he left, running from the law, and I blamed them for a lot of years, still do. And their divorce was set to be final the next day, 24 hours before he got killed, and Continental Trailway settled with her for $1 million. Big headlines here in the paper. But so is the way it goes. But anyhow, I'm going to finish up this Captain Black, and I'm going to get back to something that I recommend it, but I don't. And the reason I don't is because this will take all your time. I'll tell y'all about this on the next video. This will kill your time. You will want to do nothing else. Y'all take care. Have a good one. And God bless.